Multiplayer games, the perfect environment to exercise our struggles, frustrations, or maybe even have fun. Everyone has their own idea. Also, because it's virtual, the power of anonymity can be very dangerous. A coordinated verbal attack on you or your family can be more valuable than winning. Perhaps you would want to join them in doing the same. What's the worst that can happen? Ultimately, we as a species continue to persist in our endless search for dopamine, serotonin, and a distraction from responsibility. Combined with continued support by developers, it never ends. Well, not always. It's not just about getting shut down because of corporate ineptitude. Realistically, most people can't be playing the same game forever, but there is a dedicated subsection of elite gamers endlessly playing only the most refined multiplayer experiences that are immune to the sands of time. Are these people mentally impeded, stuck in a schizophrenic loop, or are these old games just too good to ever leave? It's something I've been pondering for a while, so today I want to show you a few of the most unique examples. Certain games die in shame, others live in a constant state of suffering. The average lifespan of live service games is a few years. It's a bit uncommon, but some can live up to 10 plus. These are titles most would be familiar with that are still around, boasting a sizable player base. Though the more we start digging for relics further away in time, the more obscure it gets. But is it fair to call them that if the numbers are high? I don't know what they are specifically, as this information ain't gonna be publicly available most of the time, so I can only judge by how active the community is. But before we start, please keep in mind I will not be listing off every existing game out there, just the ones I find interesting to talk about. So don't even think of going into the comments asking me why I didn't mention Star Stable. Don't worry, I've been busy grinding and building my reputation because the bond between human and equine goes deep. My steed is an extension of my soul. Okay, enough horsing around. I have lots of other games to show you. Second Life needs no introduction. The title speaks for itself. It was created in 2003 by Linden Lab Research Facility. This is what's called a social avatar MMO. The goal is to expand humanity beyond the metaphysical form, and we are the guinea pigs. There's no specific questline or story. You create your own. Maybe you would want to stack real-life Benjamins by getting into trading and rental property, selling custom art and models, or maybe enlist as a slave for reproduction purposes to become the progenitor of a new species, or find your virtual soulmate, then meet IRL, only to realize that they have a great sense of fashion and their main source of income is selling handmade wands on Etsy. If you happen to find such an individual, trust me, they are a keeper. And this is just scratching the surface. Now, do I have enough experience to claim such things are actually possible? No. However, I understand the extent of what is possible in Second Life, and that is everything, so I will assert my statements as plausible. This might sound very ridiculous or absurd to you and not an actual description of the game, but if you were to understand, I recommend trying Dianetics. You see, the mind consists of two parts, the conscious analytical and the subconscious reactive mind. Humans are good-willed and benign by nature, but are bound by physical unconsciousness, leading to acts of negativity and harm. These are called engrams. The goal of this practice is to remove engrams and achieve a state of clarity. Only then can you truly experience the meaning of Second Life. Does this actually work? Well, in order to absolve myself of responsibility, attempt at your own discretion. In all seriousness, Second Life is a one-of-a-kind dimension of reality, unable to be replicated, thus cementing its legacy. Despite its age and bizarreness, player base seems stable and economy still running, regardless if a significant part of it seems geared more towards NSFW. I personally don't shame. Of course, it used to be way more popular. Visually, it's not the most attractive these days, but it's easy to install and start talking to people. And maybe the era of such games is passing, yet all things considered, it persists. I truly believe at some point it will outlive us all. Dark Age of Camelot, made in 2001 by Mythic Entertainment. Look, I know MMORPGs are made to last long, but this one in particular is unique. Once you register, you pick either of the three realms, Abion, Hibernia, or Midgard, select your race, class, and start the adventure. I personally went with Green Team, because nobody hates the Brits as much as the Irish. Went with a very charming and jolly male Blade Master Furbolg with an appropriate random name. I think this option should really come back. The setting is based on the Middle Ages. After King Arthur passed away, every realm is now out for blood, and it's been like this since forever. I don't know how it hasn't been sorted out by now. Time loops aside, the gameplay is what people come here for. On the surface, it's nothing special, but what makes Dark Age of Camelot so good is the realm versus realm PvP. Remember when you had to choose one of those? Yeah, now you fight for it. Once out in the open PvP zone, anything can happen. Engaging in all-out wars against other players is a regular occurrence, and there are events for it. Fight to take over land and assert dominance. If one realm becomes too strong, others get bonuses and have better incentive to work together. It's a never-ending war. I personally didn't do any of that. After experiencing the stellar combat, getting stuck in a door, getting shot with arrows seemingly through walls, then went on my own adventure only to get mauled by a pack of badgers, I came to believe my zoomer brain isn't cut out for this. Today, DAC might be past the glory days, also kind of on a decline due to the dated visuals and general deprioritization from the devs, but it does seem like it's holding on after all these years. It's generally free to play, but paying provides the full experience. I'm personally surprised EA, knowing who they are, haven't decided to shut it down. If there's any hope for the future, maybe the crowd-funded Camelot Unchained will succeed, but it's still not out, and there seems to be some concerns from the fans that, we have no time for right now. How about something else in genre, like the original Counter-Strike? If you're familiar with my channel, then this is an obvious one, but the reason I am mentioning it is although everyone knows this game, I don't think people really understand how much it's still played. Counter-Strike is a tactical first-person shooter, meaning precision in aiming is very important. The weapons are your tools, skill and team play are also very important. Maps are simple with one objective, either plant the bomb or rescue the hostages. The possibilities in such a constricted environment are endless. There's also modding, where you can play other game modes. Content and servers are all community driven. Okay, how big is the player base then? In this case, I can give you the numbers, and that is around 10,000 players daily. This doesn't even factor in the maybe thousands more non-Steam users, so why are they all still here? Is it because it came conveniently pre-installed with every existing Windows XP machine so the young generation is prepared for their inevitable draft? Part of it is the ease of access. Hardware-wise, yeah, you can run it on your phone even, but I also think it's the simplicity of getting into it. Of course, it's probably not pulling in new players. Difference is, unlike other multiplayer games where getting to the good part requires a time investment, anyone who has played CS knows the weapons, movement, and does too, so just open the game and hop on a server. These days, however, servers either have pay-to-win plugins, annoying custom skins you can't turn off, or are straight-up viruses. I mean, it's not the worst experience ever, but be cautious. So whether it's nostalgia, mental stagnation, or genuine attachment, there is a reason the community is holding strong 25 years later. Habbo Hotel by Solaki from the year 2000. What started as a small-scale project for a rap group eventually grew into an era-defining multiplayer game. It's similar to Second Life with many exceptions, but just as charming. There's a lot to do, but here is what you need to know. Socializing with people is what you come here for. Yes, on top of that, you can participate in various activities like games or getting a job. Not a real one, so don't be afraid. Such ventures are usually rewarded with furniture. Yeah, here's the real incentive for playing. Trading between each other is a feature, and just like any other game, this creates an economy. There is no way of making real money unless we count black markets, so for those looking to become rich and abuse the system to ruse other players of their precious items or coins, Habbo Hotel is a capitalist utopia. But Des, what if I don't have the time to play the game and trade? I hear you yelling all the way from the basement. Don't worry, there's a solution. Why not indulge in gambling or even criminal activity? This is important to mention because on one hand, the in-game market gave people a reason to purchase subscriptions or engage in microtransactions. This made Souvlaki a lot of money and earned them a lot of criticism. The subject of monetary value is a rabbit hole in of itself. Some practices aren't really possible today as the rules have evolved, but that hasn't stopped bad actors from continuing to try. Today, many might consider Habbo a husk of its former self with a good reason, and it isn't because the ban on unregulated games of chance. To summarize the lore, Habbo Habbo never really changed much over the years, which created concerns over longevity. Additionally, original creators have left. The company was sold and corporatized, which led to questionable and out-of-touch decisions that did nothing but hamper the experience, making longtime players either quit or start their own servers. It's still played by thousands of people worldwide technically, but its reputation has been tainted. Surprisingly though, Habbo Hotel Origins was released recently with the purpose to recapture the magic of the past, be more community-oriented and targeted towards adults. Is it good? It's too early to tell, but rest assured, this franchise isn't going anywhere. Tibia is an ancient entity that is likely immortal, made in 1997 by Clipsoft. That year is not a joke. There was no revival or remake, it's just been here the whole time as you see it. Tibia is an isometric top-down tile-based MMORPG, but honestly, I have never seen a game with such perspective. It's from an angle while viewed from way above. I don't know. It's really one of those games you know exists, but don't think about until you are at your doctor's appointment and they ask if you feel any pain in the tibia. It's free and updates are regular. Also, there is no steep difficulty curve. Getting into it is not hard and many praise it for how much freedom it gives. It seems like the player base is doing okay at around 10,000, and some of you may say you've never known anybody that has ever played it, and well, the world doesn't revolve around you now, does it? There do seem to be concerns with pay-to-win strategies, but to avoid all of that, in typical fashion, people have made their own servers. That aside, why continue to stick around? What is so compelling about the gameplay? To my understanding, it's just the never-ending grind. You see, there's no level cap. Currently, the highest level character in the game is this guy at 2,659. It's about seeing the numbers go up and probably obtain or craft new items. A constant race. The devs have to keep providing more to satiate the starving crowd. If you have ever wanted to eat and be left hungry, Tibia might be for you. Just keep in mind you might get caught in a never-ending feedback loop. Alright, I don't really have any closing statements. I just felt like talking about old games for no specific reason. Well, if anybody needs me, I will be busy installing galvanized steel beams into my balcony for maximum comfort and maximizing space. This way, it'll be indestructible against the harsh weather.